America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, dear.
This evening, before we start the meeting, I'd like to take a moment of silence and honor Chet Puchalowski, a former council member that passed away on September 11, 2014. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call to order the September 22nd, 2014 City Council meeting. Clerk, please read the roll.
Colasar.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coyne. You say here, you're here.
I'm here.
Hilberg.
Here.
I should probably explain, I forgot that tonight, with the mayor being out of town, Mr. Coyne has assumed the role of acting mayor, which then moves myself up to the role of council president this evening. So, reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Simpson.
I'd like to have the minutes from last meeting, which would be September 8th, approved at this time.
Second.
Would the clerk please read the roll?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson. Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Reports of standing committees. We'll start with the finance. Our next finance committee meeting, we met prior tonight to tonight's meeting. Our next one will be on Tuesday, October 14th. It's on a Tuesday because Monday the 13th is Columbus Day, so City Hall will be closed that day. But our next finance committee meeting will be on Tuesday, October 14th. I'll go ahead and do public properties while I'm going through here. There's no meeting scheduled and no report this evening. Water and utilities, Mr. Colasar.
Thank you, Mr. President. We don't have a meeting scheduled yet, and I know the last two council meetings I've said we're working on it, and believe it or not, we still are. But there is one item on the agenda tonight that I believe our city engineer is going to talk about that was in discussion in one of our early water meetings this year, and hopefully I'll have something set for next meeting. Thank you.
Streets and sidewalks, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Streets and Sidewalks will hold a meeting October 8th at 5:30 here at City Hall.
Special legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know I said we were going to schedule a meeting now for, I really lost count of how many meetings I've said we're going to schedule a meeting. We're having a hard time coming up with the dates, but I have 3 dates that I'm going to share with the Clerk of Council tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to schedule a meeting before the end of November.
Thank you. Health and safety, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report and no meeting scheduled.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Request for council action for the Finance Committee, 14188, expenditure over $15,000 for Vasco Asphalt. 14189, purchase a rear loader packer body for sanitation. 14190, budget amendments. 14191, increase purchase order 2014-295 for legal services. 14192, expenditure over $15,000 for Davis Tree Farm. 14194, fall tree planting and tree purchases. 14195, increased purchase order 2014-1415 for the Lake County Sewer Company. 14196, increased purchase order 2014-256 for Cargill for salt. For the Public Properties Committee, we have 14193, Uptown Park sound system usage fees. And for streets and sidewalks, we have 14197, discuss the cost for new streetlights on Reagan Parkway. Reports of municipal officers. We'll begin first with the acting mayor, Mr. Coyne.
Thank you, Mr. President. As acting mayor, I guess I have one report to give this evening. The report is that the city's hired RIS Web Services in March of 2013 to create and develop a new website for the city of Medina. Many months of hard work went into the project by both RIS team members and city staff members, including Don Conwell, who's in the audience today, Jared Fry, Miles Reed, and Sergeant Darren Zaremba. I'm happy to report that our site received the 2014 Standard of Excellence Web Award. Though I do not have the physical award with me, we did receive that award. We are pleased to receive this recognition and I'm very proud of all the hard work that went into this project by all the staff. And I think hopefully everybody had an opportunity to look at the website because it is a great website. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coyne. Mr. Durham, Finance Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the end of the agenda, there's an appropriation ordinance that I will speak to when we get there. I sent all of you on council a report from the GFOA, that's Ohio Government Finance Officers Association meeting and training conference that I attended last week. There's some updates on House Bill 5, which we've talked about before. There's an accounting standard change and a discussion of a potential to sell some of our water capacity, which we've talked about in the past, and that may come up as an issue. The only other announcement I have from that conference is I'm very happy and very proud to announce that I was named and sworn in as president-elect of the Ohio GFOA. I'll be serving in that capacity for this year, and then next year I'll be president of the organization.
Thank you, Mr. Durham. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Ms. Kimberly Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Mr. Mendel, Planning and Community Development Director.
Yes, thank you. One announcement is that there will be boards and commissions meeting on Thursday, October 16th, starting at 5 p.m. That's for the Historic Preservation Board, Board of Zoning Appeals, and Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kladish, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last Friday, I attended a meeting in Columbus with the Board of Directors for the Ohio Board of Building Standards. The purpose of the meeting was to seek permission from the board to allow the City of Medina's building department to become certified to perform plumbing services for the community. I am happy to say that the city prevailed and was successful in achieving the board's approval and was given permission to add the plumbing services to the city's certifications. This has been a goal of Mayor Hanwell and Jonathan Mandel. The goal is to provide the most convenient, most efficient, and simplest process for the residents, property owners, building owners, business owners, and contractors to do business in the city. This is in regards to construction, approvals, permits, and inspections. The city recently reconfigured the floor plan for the community development at City Hall to create a more open, more welcoming open atmosphere. Community development, economic development, building permits, and inspections are all in one convenient location. A resident, building owner, business owner, or contractor are able to visit the convenient location with questions and applications instead of having to visit several different locations. Currently, this is true except for plumbing. For plumbing, they need to go a few miles away to the county health department. Since the city has the experience and certified personnel employed to perform the plumbing services, it only makes sense for the city to take on the added responsibilities. I want to say and make it known that the county health department is currently and for the past many years has been doing an excellent job for the city. I can say I have worked with the Medina County Health Department for well over 20 years and made many friends there. The bottom line is it's all about the city providing the most efficient services to the community. With the city taking on the responsibilities of plumbing services from the health department, this will allow the city to be one step closer to providing a one-stop shop for construction and development throughout the city. Again, it's all about customer service from the city to the community. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Kladish. Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Recreation Center, I want to let everybody know about the Halloween Harvest Festival that will be taking place on the square Friday, October 10th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. There will also be trick-or-treating in the district on Friday, hosted by businesses on the square. On Saturday, October 11th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., there will be a variety of events for children of all ages. If you're interested in being a part of the event, we're still taking sponsors, volunteers, and vendors. Please contact the Rec Center at www.medinarec.org or call Maureen Dowell at 330-721-6935. On behalf of the Parks Department, I just want to remind residents to utilize the parking lots and adjacent streets near city parks, and please avoid parking on the grass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worley. Mr. Padden, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. As most people know, the traveling around town, we have South Court Street between Washington and Smith closed. It's been closed since September 10th. Reason being, on the early morning hours of September 10th, we experienced a major water line break, and that break caused significant pavement damage. We did, our city crews did repair the break within a few hours, but after the repair and upon assessing the situation and having discussions with ODOT, the mayor and city administration, it was determined that the best course of action would be to replace the whole water main from just south of Washington Street to just north of Smith Road. This is quite an undertaking to do kind of at a moment's notice, but I'm happy to report the water line is in as of this weekend. It did pass all the required tests and it's in service. We're spending today and the next couple days transferring water service laterals from the old main to the new main. We expect to be done Wednesday, Thursday this week. Upon completion of that, we will start replacement of the pavement. We anticipate turning the street back over to ODOT so they can do the final paving early next week, and the road will open shortly thereafter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. And finally, Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the city engineer referenced, that was a great undertaking. I want to thank Pat because we put that plan together in about an hour in the mayor's office, and there was a lot of effort that went in behind the scenes. It's working well in the field. Street crews, water crews working together with the contractor, and the end result will be beneficial. We also want to thank the businesses and the local residents for being patient with us. It's affected a lot of different people, and we appreciate their patience. The other thing I want to announce is Lake County Sewer Company is contracted with the city. They have been working as of last week. We're trying to repair some of our more damaged storm sewer without excavation by the grouting process, so that's going to continue as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions. There are none this evening. Unfinished business. There's no unfinished business. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that would like to address council this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to introduction and consideration of ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance 157-14. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for a one-year supply of various kinds of maintenance materials needed for the streets and water lines, including but not limited to salt, the chemicals for use in the treatment of water, and water meters to be used by the various departments of the city of Medina, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Piccoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. As stated, this is our annual bid for stone, sand, concrete, and other materials, including water meters. So allow us to go out to bid and hopefully secure some good prices for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Ordinance 157-14 passes 6-0.
Thank you. Ordinance 158-14. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract for the successful bidder for the Wadsworth Road Drainage Improvement Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you. This project is designed to correct an issue of flooding over the 700 block of Wadsworth Road. This area has experienced many floods over the years. It's kind of next on our priority list to get completed. This will service, it's about 20 different homes that will benefit from the project.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Ordinance 158-14 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 159-14. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept one easement necessary for the Wadsworth Road Water Main Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you. This is another project on Wadsworth Road where we're replacing some water line as a result of an Issue 1 grant that we received. This is an easement we need from a private property owner to install water line along their frontage.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Simpson.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 159-14 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 160-14, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Medina County for standby emergency water service.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Huber?
Last winter, the intake up in Lake Erie froze near Avon Lake, and as a result, the city of Medina suffered a serious shortfall in available water. This agreement with Medina County allows for connection to an additional water line, actually two, that provide an additional possible source of water if we ever run into an event like what occurred last winter. This source of water is through Cleveland as opposed to Avon Lake, and is made available by way of agreements between Medina County and Cleveland. So this gives us a little bit of redundancy.
Thank you, Mr. Huber. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 160-14 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 161-14, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for the auction, sale, or disposal of city equipment and vehicles no longer in use.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Piccoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, this is our annual auction for no longer in use items. There is large trucks, sweeper Vactor from the street department, police cars, numerous pickup trucks, tools, computer equipment, unclaimed items that have been confiscated from the police department. There's over 300 plus items. We do not have a solidified date for the auction, but I'm expecting early November, end of October, early November. Thank you.
And when we do have that date, we will announce it at some future council meetings then?
Correct. And it also, I believe, Dawn will put it on the website and cable as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 161-14 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 162-14, an ordinance amending ordinance number 208-13 passed December 9, 2013, amendments to the 2014 budget.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. As mentioned, I would come back to this. The first one is for the Lake Medina Trail. We discussed this last week at the finance meeting. Determined we wanted to take part of this from unappropriated funds in our general capital fund, and part of it is a transfer from the park salaries. The second one, then the third one there is the Christmas lights, which we're taking from the electric aggregation funds, and then the reduction is where we're taking that from.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mr. President, I have a question. Christmas lights are on here, plus the Lake Medina Trail, because there's only 6 of us up here. I know in finance, the Christmas lights were just passed by 4-3. So if it's a 3-3 vote on here, it will not pass?
I think you're correct, but I think the acting mayor has the deciding vote on that one, since it goes to the mayor to make the decision.
Well, you're not 100% sure on that.
I think I am 100% sure on that.
The tie goes to...
I'd have to check on that. I'm not entirely sure myself.
Just want a clarification. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. President?
Mr. Colasar?
I will be voting no because of the Christmas light addition to this, or one of the line items on this ordinance in front of us. I am in favor of the Lake Medina Trail, but just a little leery about the additional money for the Christmas lights, so that's why my no vote will respond to.
Mr. Durham?
Would it be possible to split this into 2 votes so that the one that we know everybody's in favor of will not be delayed by
Actually, I am willing to vote yes so that we don't have that issue, because I think I've made my point at the 2 meetings where we talked about the Christmas lights, and I'm not opposed to the Christmas lights. I just felt like we needed to get a better handle on finding the correct connections and streamlining it a little bit to minimize the amount of work that our city employees have had to put into it. So at this point, I would be fine with voting for the budget amendment this evening. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Hilberg.
No.
Colasar.
No.
Ordinance 162-14 passes 4 yeas, 2 nays.
Council comments. I have 2 things that I'd like to point out. The first is that council has a intern that will be working with our clerk of council. Seamus Wilson is joining us from St. Ignatius. Sorry, Mr. Patton, but we brought somebody from St. Ignatius rather than St. Ed. But Seamus is here this evening, and he'll be joining us for some additional meetings and meeting with department heads and talking to council members here. So Seamus, welcome. We're glad to have you. It's exciting to have you be part of this intern project with us. The second announcement I have is that we will continue our award meetings. Mr. Colasar and I will be co-hosting Award 3 and Award 4 neighborhood meeting on October 7th at 7 p.m. It will be at Ella Canavan Elementary School. Ella Canavan Elementary School has a large parking lot on the south side of the building that enters into the commons area, and that parking lot and those doors will be open that evening. So mark your calendars, and if you could join us on October 7th at 7 p.m., we'd love to have you there. Council will be there and members of the administration, and it's a less formal way for the residents to come and ask questions and discuss concerns about the city and get an update on what's going on. So we hope to see you there. Other council comments this evening?
Mr. President?
Mr. Colasar?
Just 2 quick remarks. I just want to pass on my condolences to Chet Pusilowski's family. Chet was a past member of council, but still very active in the community. Also a Ward 3 resident, served on Planning Commission, and was really involved, I think, throughout his life. And he will be missed. He was a man that truly loved this city, and like I said before, he's just continued to be active. So we are going to miss an individual that made a big difference in this community. And another individual that made a big difference in this community is and I want to welcome back John Wetzel out in the audience, the old powerhouse of Ward 1. So welcome back, John. Thank you.
Any other council comments this evening? Mr. Rose?
Yes, thank you. I, too, would like to express my condolences to the Pusilowski family. I didn't have the work experience with him that others here have, but in the 5 years that I spent with him on the Planning Commission, he truly showed his love for this city and keeping it moving forward, and he truly will be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Any other council comments this evening?
Mr. President?
Mr. Lamb?
I have 2. Thank you. The first one is I have a meeting on Wednesday at the Baptist Church on Bronson Street at 7 o'clock to continue this discussion about the neighborhood initiative that I began a couple weeks ago. I believe that there are many things that come together to make a city whole, to make a city healthy, make a city good. One of the most critical parts of that making a community is the condition of neighborhoods. And I don't think that there's anything that stands above the condition of neighborhoods and the importance of that in the community. And so to that end, I have begun this initiative that I said will go on until at least the first of the year. I have no preconceived ideas. I'm not trying to confirm anything I already believe in, but I would like to look at this issue as if there is not a particularly wrong way or a right way, but some way that we can put together a neighborhood renewal program that will ensure these things, that all the neighborhoods in our community are well maintained, all the neighborhoods are clean, all the neighborhoods are safe, all the neighborhoods are appealing and attractive for people and for people with families to live in. That's my objective. And to that end, I've spent the last couple of weeks meeting with officials in other communities and communities outside of Medina County, meeting with bankers, meeting with business people, and particularly meeting with realtors to get information and ideas and opinions, anything that I think we might be able to, in the end, put together to make this work. And I would invite anybody in the community, whether you live in an inner ring neighborhood or you live in the newer neighborhoods where everything at the moment's looking pretty good, I would invite you to come to this meeting, come to the next meeting and the meeting that will follow. Tell me about your neighborhood, tell me about your ideas. I particularly invite folks that are in the real estate business because they are a key to making this work and become a reality where every single neighborhood meets that criteria that I just spelled out. So the meeting is at 7 o'clock, Second Baptist Church on Bronson Street. And the last thing I have is just to remind everybody that November 7th, and I think the tickets are on sale now, Medina Country Club, Faith in Action, which is a great organization in Medina, has their annual Dancing with the Stars. I've done a lot of things in my life here in Medina that people have either laughed at or I've been scared to do. I've kissed a pig. I rode in a donkey race. I mud wrestled once. I even backed Jerry Springer for governor. But dancing in front of a lot of people is probably the scariest thing I've ever done. So if you want to come and see something that ought to be pretty interesting, I wouldn't miss Dancing with the Stars. Raise some money for a good cause, November 7th, Medina Country Club. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Any other council comments this evening? Rest assured, residents, that Mr. Coyne will return to his council presidency role, and the mayor will come back from vacation, and everything will be right by Monday. So if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you, and have a good evening.